In our last update, we wanted to see Bitcoin take out range highs at $113,500, and if we got a deviation, I was interested in opening short positions to see much lower prices. And if we go over to the charts, as you can see, even though we did put in one more low before taking out range highs, this short setup still played out exactly as predicted. We got the deviation and we did end up pushing much lower. So as usual, before we dive into this price action, let me quickly recap what we did inside the Discord. So if you remember on Tuesday, I was actually not in a long position, even though I did predict it, okay, which was right there. You're looking at the Asian session, take out the low and see reversal to the upside. This did end up playing out. And personally, I didn't catch that low because I was asleep. So all I was waiting for is for the range highs to get taken out to open a short position. But we got another job first, and at this point, I was not interested in long positions because I didn't really like price action. In the end, this was the right call because we did end up making another very deep low before bouncing. And when I woke up and saw this price action, I did analyze one resistance above. And if you were able to drop before reaching that resistance, I was interested in opening very easy long positions. But unfortunately, price moved straight up into that resistance. So I was just waiting for an imbalance to open a short position. And in the end, we moved up straight through that resistance without any imbalances, so no short positions. And then at this point, when you break above that resistance, of course, it makes sense to expect a break of once again $113,500. So when I saw an early imbalance at the highs, ideally what I wanted to see is that if we could drop before taking out 113.5, I was once again interested in opening long positions. But unfortunately, price just ended up moving straight up and we didn't get any retracement after putting in this low. But at this point, I didn't get frustrated and I did realize that the short setup shared inside the YouTube update was potentially playing out. Okay, so the setups shared were still valid, confirm a deviation, and that was a short position for me. And a couple of minutes later, we got this drop and we got this bounce. And for me, that was enough to confirm a deviation, okay? So I opened a short position and put a stop loss at the highs and called it a day right there. The next day I came back, we got this very nice drop and my short position, of course, was very nicely in profits. And also I implemented the take profit one. So after that, I had to leave because I had an appointment. So I just wanted to stay short and chill. And then when I came back a couple of hours later, this is what I saw on the charts. We had the first SFP, second one, a third one, and a fourth one. So in my opinion, this was a bit overdone and wasn't a very logical long setup. On top of that, when I went on Twitter, I saw that too many people were rushing in to open long positions. So to me, in my view, this was not a likely low, and I still wanted to remain short and chill. That was the right decision because guess what happened? We did end up pushing much lower. And at this point, of course, my short was massively in profits, but I have not implemented the take profit 2 yet, and have placed a stop loss in profits at $112,300. So back to the charts, what can you expect next? Am I still expecting lower prices, or can you look for long positions for reversal higher? Well, the first thing that I want to say is that today is Friday. And in my opinion, I don't expect at all to get the weekend range, okay, so the Friday close, inside of these price levels, okay? So I would expect the weekend range, okay, to get put in maybe below the lows, okay, so below $107,000, or that you will get a big bounce before the Friday close, and then put in the weekend range up there, okay? So today, personally, I am expecting a big move. Of course, my bias will be towards the downside because, as mentioned in our last update, losing these lows would be a massive sign of weakness because I don't have any support between this level and $107,000. However, I do have to say that if I am right about not having any support between this and this actually means that I don't have any support between $111,000 and sub $100,000. Why? Well, because if you revisit $107,500, in my opinion, it is extremely unlikely that this level will hold. Why? Because even though it is a very strong level, it has already offered a reaction once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, and even 5 times. So when you drop to this level a 6th time, do you really expect that we'll get a drop and then another reaction? In my opinion, it doesn't really make sense, but of course, just be aware of that because it is still a very strong level. But for me, if you drop towards that level, it is just very likely that you will lose it and then push much lower. So with that said, instead of just saying that we don't have any support and expect lower prices, what I want to do today is outline a new level and be a bit more cautious. So if you go on the daily, what you will see is that we have a partially filled daily imbalance. If I zoom in and show you, take the open of the candle, and this hasn't been filled as you can see. On top of that, if you go on the 4-hour, what you will see is that we have a pretty big wick. So take the midpoint of the wick, which comes in around there, and this would be your support area, daily open, midpoint of the wick, and this is a decent support to look at in my opinion. Now, personally, I am not interested in longing this because once again, as mentioned before, if you lose these lows, this would be a massive sign of weakness. So in my view, I am not interested in any long positions until I see strengths on Bitcoin. And as today is Friday, I can be very patient. Because if this support level ends up offering a low and we get a big bounce, then I can come back on Sunday, outline a new support level, look for a long position on a retracement, and then take it higher, okay? So if we get a big bounce, I will get stopped out of my short position in very nice profit still, but then I can look for much safer longs and higher prices to come, okay? So that's why I am not interested in opening any long positions. However, if I am right that we actually don't have any support, then I am expecting a much bigger drop, lose $107,000, and before getting the Friday close, I do believe that the weekend range will be put in somewhere down there, confuse a lot of people, make them question, is the bull market over or not? Should I open longs or shorts? They don't know what to do next, and you just continue lower. In which case, of course, I will make much more profits on my short position. So with all of that said, that was mainly it for this update. A very simple one today. So a quick recap. Today is Friday. And personally, I am expecting a very big move before we get the daily close. If we get a big bounce, that's not a problem for me. I still have made very good profits on my short position. And I can look for longs next week for potential move higher in the charts. However, if we do continue lower, which is my personal expectation, then very simply, I will make much more profits on my short position. And once again, in my opinion, if you lose $107,500, then I will expect a break of $100,000 next. So with all of that said, that was mainly it for this update. And as usual, if you guys enjoyed it, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.